Hey there, this is Sam with Bulldog Rooter. Today I'm doing a video inspection of the sewer line for 2717 West Dean Avenue in Spokane, Washington. It is May 15th, 2017. So we are looking at the end of the sewer where it ties into what is the city sewer. This is the end of the sewer line for the house. This is called your connection or sewer hub. I want to start to pull back and just explain some things about this pipe. So right there's your connection. This is 4-inch clay tile pipe. It's usually a pretty good type of pipe. Clay tile comes into about 2 to 5 foot sections. Main issues I see with clay tile usually is in the sections themselves there's seams for each separate section, and roots like to intrude at each one of those seams a lot of times and start to get stuff to back up. So today we came out here and we put our snake through it a couple of times. That was not working. We pulled out a whole bunch of roots, put our camera in there, ended up seeing a whole lot of sludge. So we came back with what's called the jetter today. We ran our jetter through here 3 times, and we ended up just getting it cleared out right now. So this is the first time we've actually been able to get eyes on the sewer. The whole thing anyways. We were able to push out about 20 feet before, but we were just stopped by a wall of sludge. So this clay tile pipe honestly doesn't look like it's in too bad a condition so far. You know, that's kind of what a normal seam looks like as we're pulling back here. What you'll start to see sometimes is that the clay tile will start to separate in spots. And when it separates, that's when the roots really get in. It can create like pockets or holes inside of the line at the seams. Other things it can do is create what's called a belly, where essentially when it starts to separate, it'll make things so offset that something's going to have to start draining uphill. And like what I said, little pockets and holes and stuff, that's kind of what we're looking at in that section right there. Towards the top right-hand corner of the screen, you can see a little bit of water sitting there. Not a big issue, but I'm sure that could be a section where roots have been coming in. Then just like a little bit of separating, you can see there's just like that little lip towards the right-hand side of the pipe. Which would be towards the top right-hand corner of the screen again, more towards the middle of the top of the screen actually. And so what will happen is when they actually start to get offset, sometimes it'll offset to where it's actually going uphill in the line. So every time you use your toilets or anything like that, it will create like a puddle inside the line, which will catch just a whole bunch of nasty stuff, end up making it into like a oatmeal substance, and every time we cable through it, we can get through it just fine, don't feel anything. When we pull it back out, that sludge collapses back on itself, and it can be quite hard to get out. This section is also clay tile as well. It's just a little bit different colored. Could have been a different type of clay tile, but still the same type of pipe. Going through another little section again, and back into the same stuff. So yeah, so far all the seams I've seen are perfect. Nothing too terrible. Like I said, we went through this about 3 or 4 times to get it actually to clear out finally. And you can see just a little bit of hairline roots towards the left-hand side of the pipe, which would be towards the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Bottom of the pipe is going to be where that water's sitting right there. This is what I'm talking about, the separations a little bit. You can see how it's holding a little puddle of water there. Obviously, that's not a major separation. It's not making it hold too much water in that spot. It's holding a little bit. And if you have roots right there, you can definitely see how all the toilet paper debris and stool debris can get stopped up and become sludgy right here as well. So when I pushed the camera out through the sewer line, because we're recording from the end of the sewer line back, I didn't really see any big mechanical issues at all. I think the whole deal today was just the fact that it hasn't been maintained in a long time. We pulled out a whole bunch of roots, and when you have all those roots sitting in the line, it's another thing that can create a sludge substance as well, because it's catching on all that stuff, and we can rip the roots out, but that sludge is still sitting there, and it still gets thick. So right here, you know, just another normal seam. Everything's looking pretty good. Start to pull back, and you know, just a little bit of separating on the right-hand side of the pipe, which is going to be towards the top part of the screen. Nothing major at all yet. I don't see any real big issues with this. It looks like we got the majority of the roots out. The first time we cabled through this line, we pulled out a very, very large root mass. It was probably about, I don't know, 5-6 feet long on the end of our cable, and I'd say probably about 4 inches thick. It was pretty gross. So we have another separation right here. Once again, pretty minor. If roots started to intrude in this section, I can see how it could sort of cause an issue, but it's looking pretty okay right now. Most of this pipe looks pretty darn clean, especially because we had to run our jetter through it so much. I think the main issue today was just trying to get all that sludge out of the line, which is not the easiest thing to do. The jetter is just the best way to do it. So we're looking at another little separation towards the left-hand side of the screen. Once again, very minor. I don't see any cracks in the clay tile or anything like that. I'm not seeing any huge holes or anything crazy. Another perfect looking seam. You know, the pipe looks like it's in really good condition. You can see the roots were intruding from the top left-hand corner of the screen. You can see on the top how there's just a little bit of hairline stuff left. Looks great, honestly. Line itself is about 85 feet long, and we're hitting about 45 feet right now. Another very, very minor root. Looks like the only thing that was left, and you can see there's actually a little bit of just tiny, tiny roots left in the seam itself. I believe that this could have been encasing the whole pipe in this section. Another great seam. Looks like just a little bit more roots there, but that's very, very minor. So right here, I'm thinking it might be a good idea to go in through here one more time and just kind of get this cleared out a little bit more. You can see that, you know, the roots are actually coming in pretty far down on that pipe, as far as where they're coming in from the top of the pipe and actually draping, you know, downwards. But I believe that this is another spot where the roots could have been just completely encased in the pipe. Right here is another section. This was probably totally encased as well. It looks like it could be a little bit separated towards the bottom left-hand side of the screen, where you kind of have like a pocket where roots have been kind of getting in. Looks like there's a minor crack right there at the seam as well, but that's super tiny. It shouldn't cause any issues at all. We got another separation right here. You can see towards the top of the pipe there's another, you know, root mass that looks like it got cut out, and you know, very small separation. The good thing about this one is that it actually just stair steps down on one side, so it's not really going to cause too many issues. It doesn't really obstruct the flow of water. Right here, I mean, you can see that this root mass is almost taking up the whole entire pipe. And this is already after we've gone through it with our hydro jetter machine, which is a pressure washer that just shoots very high pressured water, up to like 4,000 psi, that will cut out all this stuff. And we've already gone through this pipe 3 times, and it is still not going. So we're going to go back and kind of go to these specific spots and run our jetter at a high pressure, kind of go back and forth and make sure that all this stuff gets cleaned up. But I wanted you to kind of see what the issue was, kind of what it's entailing. So right at the seam right here towards the middle of the screen, excuse me, the top of the screen, you'll start to see a crack, and it's going to kind of go towards the top right hand corner of the screen, and that crack is going all the way back. Now it's kind of towards the bottom of the pipe, which is where the light is, and we're just following it right now. Looks like there could be a slight hole. Yeah, just a little chip and a little hole in the clay tile itself. And a little bit more roots in this section as well. And then once again, just a little bit more roots. It looks like just this little section just has, you know, some bigger stuff we got to get cut out. And if you see on the roots themselves, it's like brown in one area, and then you start to see more like a white kind of mushy looking stuff. That's kind of what the sludge looks like. So I think that all these seams we're seeing roots in right now completely encase the pipe, and every time they've been using the toilet over, you know, the past couple of years, or it's hard to say, has been really making it get sludge, you know, building up, because all these roots are just catching on to it, and that's why we had such a problem today. So right here we got another little bit of roots. That one looks like it's actually cleaned up pretty well. And then right here we're going to have to hit it again. You know, we were having a section where we were just having big troubles trying to get over a specific part, and I believe that this was it right here. We have a pretty big separation. You can see roots are pretty much covering up this whole area. You know, most of them were cut out, but it was definitely coming in around the whole pipe. And it looks like it's almost like, I'd say, an inch to half an inch separation right here. And this is stair stepping up. You can see it's holding a puddle of water right here. When you start to run more water with the roots involved in this section as well, you can definitely see how this could create an issue. When we first put our camera in here the first couple of times after we were cabling to see if we could figure out what was going on, when we found the sludge, we could only push out to about 22, 23 feet, which is exactly where we were. And it makes sense as to why we were having issues getting past it, with the roots, of course, and then on top of the sludge. Doesn't make it easy to push through. Alrighty. Another good looking seam. So, you know, this pipe's really not in too bad a condition right here. We have another separation. You know, it's pretty normal to see these types of separations inside the line. We have roots coming in on the both sections of pipe right here. Another minor root intrusion. Nothing major. This thing's pretty well cleaned out now that we've done this as much as we have. I just want to go back in one more time and kind of spot clean stuff. Another minor separation right there. And like I said, this is all the 4-inch clay tile pipe that we're in, and it's looking like it's in pretty darn good condition. So right here we have another separation from what it looks like towards the top of the pipe. You can see how it's just a little bit separated, and then it kind of stair steps down off this, which usually doesn't cause too much of an issue as long as roots weren't getting into the seam, and it looks pretty well cleaned out. So right here we switch from 4-inch cast iron to, 4-inch clay tile to 4-inch cast iron, which is going to be inside the house. This is probably where it stubs out of the foundation and switches over to clay tile and then runs out back to the alley. Cast iron is usually pretty good pipe. You know, the big issues I see is just like cracks, holes, and extreme rust debris. I'm not really seeing it be too rusty right now or anything crazy like that. I don't really see any big cracks or anything kind of out of the ordinary with this. Clay tile usually lasts fairly long, so that's a good thing. But right here we're popping out of the clean out, which is where we did our video inspection from. There's a little picture of that. And once again, that was Sam with Bulldog Rooter, and that is going to conclude your video inspection. Thank you.